We're on the XS14 and at the Miami Boat Show. It's a beautiful day, and I'd like to learn a little bit about Murray Yacht Sales. It's a long-standing family business, as I understand it. I'm curious, would your father recognize it?
Yes, we're just celebrating our 50th anniversary, and my father would recognize parts of it and not others. He was always focused on the customer and the why, and to make sure that our clients were well served by understanding why they were going to use the boat, and that would develop into what boat was best for them. And we still use that today as our philosophy, and it really helps our customer be best served. In addition, he was always forward-facing on the technology to make the systems run best in our company, going back to the Radio Shack computer and going from cards, index cards, to effectively CRMs through basic databases. And today we're still on the leading edge where we use HubSpot and other technology to make sure our customers are served well, and we can spend more time focusing on them and the why.
So you just celebrated a 50th anniversary. When did you start in the business?
I started a long time ago, but I've been running it for over 30 years.
You sell both new and used boats. Has your advice about new or used boats or any other aspect of purchasing boats changed in terms of how you explain the market to your clients?
It hasn't changed because we offer both. Then we're not focused on selling something. Instead, we can help our clients buy. And some people are new car buyers and some people are used car buyers, and there's no right or wrong. It's a compromise. And so we do the same with boats. We listen, and we listen to the why. And sometimes we'll help. If somebody has a misconception of what a new boat will do for them or a used boat, we'll look back and explain to them what our other happy clients have been satisfied with. And sometimes we'll help determine their questions and end up with the right boat.
So boats and people have changed over the years in sailing, and I'm curious from your perspective, what's the most significant change?
The biggest change is the design of the boats, the engineering, and all of the systems on the boat that have made it a lot easier to learn, to be safe, and to use a boat with less people. So traditionally, 40 years ago, you really needed a lot of years experience to handle a 50-foot boat. Today with the systems, two people can do it easily and safely. And the boats have become with more form stability and just smarter systems. So it's more enjoyable and less stress.
So they're roomier too.
Oh, for a given length, the boats are much roomier. The space is used better, but also the beams carried further forward. And the cruising boats sail faster, they're more stable, and there's more space.
So you've been a dealer for Group Beneteau or the Beneteau brand for many, many years.
Over 30.
And we're standing on this XS catamaran, which is a relatively new brand. How does the group's evolution in their boats, and particularly this XS, fit with what you were just talking about?
Sure, it's a great question. So Group Beneteau evolves, and Group Beneteau created the successful brand of Lagoon years ago. And Lagoon became the #1 catamaran manufacturer in the world, as Beneteau is the biggest boat manufacturer in the world. And the Lagoons got more and more charter oriented, and there was a space in the market for a sportier boat that was more owner oriented. It was more of a jaw to sail and sailed more like a monohull and a catamaran. So the brand was born about 5 years ago, and we're happy to represent them. It's a fun boat to sail, and it's just a joy to be on.
Can you give me an example of a passage you did on one of these boats?
Sure. I remember taking an Excess 14 down Biscayne Bay on the way to the Miami Boat Show one year, down from St. Pete, and I was below answering emails with some piano music on and the air conditioning running, and I remember walking, opened up the sliding glass door and realizing we were sailing at 12 knots and it was blowing 20, and I had no idea. We might have well been in my office. It just reminds me that catamarans can be incredibly comfortable and still efficient and get somewhere.
How has the market acceptance been for this in the U.S. where well the Gulf states where you are based?
Yeah, so the 11, 12, and now the 14, and we just announced the 13 have been well accepted. We've got them from Texas to Florida and a little bit everywhere in between, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. And the brand has jumped worldwide, and been a big growth every year, and it's met its targets, and it's going to be a successful brand moving forward.
So for boat buyers today, there's new boats like this, Beneteau monohulls, other boats you represent, as well as the brokerage market where you have a number of lots of boats listed. What are the opportunities for buyers in this era?
Well, I don't know this era is any different than others. The opportunity is that to find a nice, clean boat that's been well kept by an owner who is smart about owning a boat. People often want to know what the cheapest boat is out there, and we'll find a boat that's been neglected, and usually it costs about the same to get it back up to speed than buying one that's already nice. So my advice is, if you can afford it, to buy a boat that's already well kept. If not, to budget to clean one up if you're going to buy a boat that needs some attention.
Or be prepared to do a lot of work.
Yes, and some people, that's great. Depending on your time of life, it can become a hobby. Mm-hmm. Some retired people want to buy a boat that needs attention so they can have the pride of bringing it back. And that's a fair compromise also. You just need to go in with your eyes open. And as they say, you get what you pay for generally.
What are the other brands that you represent?
We represent J Boats on the Northern Gulf Coast, and Beneteau and Excess across the other markets, including Texas.
So years ago, you showed me your hometown of New Orleans about a year after Katrina came through and devastated the waterfront on the lake. Your offices down there survived, fortunately. How has the waterfront changed in the years since, and what's the vibe?
So the vibe's very good. My previous office that you remember is now the pumping station. So the Corps engineers using that, hopefully we won't have this problem again. But it's been 20 years. We have a brand new marina that has, the technology of new marinas. This new marina has already withstood 3 hurricanes with no damage to the marina and almost no damage to boats. Beautiful state-of-the-art floating marina. We just hosted the Super Bowl last weekend, and the city's doing really well and is excited and vibrant. But thanks for asking. You need to come back and visit more.